Hello everyone and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Today I'm launching a mission to, if I remember correctly, Minmus. And here we go. Those octopus engines for some reason do that when any staging event happens or anything changes with their fuel source. So say if I lock or unlock a fuel tank, they will stutter for a few seconds. I kind of get that the idea is they want me to hold down the rocket with the launch clamps first, but that also doesn't work, so still. So anyway, as I said in my last episode, this is actually my second take at recording this. What happened is I really messed up OBS. It gave me like a 1 frame per second video for some reason. I overloaded the encoders really badly. As a result, this is I just jumped back and now I'm re-recording everything for your enjoyment because it's a bit early in the save to just say I did this off camera, you know? And plus, I wouldn't like to do that. That's not my style. I'll edit it up, I'll cut it up, but I won't do it off camera because then people don't know if I'm actually doing it or not. So anyway, I'll be a bit more aggressive with my editing this video. I'd like to try and keep it shorter. I think it's like 24 minutes long. Please enjoy. You can skip towards the middle. I'll have chapters put up and a timestamp that should be on screen about now for if you want to skip to the moon landing. And well, now I'm starting to do a circularization burn, or more exactly, I'm still pushing up my apoapsis a bit with a really low throttle. Now here I'm starting my fuel cells. The idea with this craft is it's powered by a combination of solar panels and fuel cells. I don't have a big solar panels yet, and I really wanted to have a secondary power source because, well, you'll see in a moment, this craft is split up into multiple parts, with the exception of the second stage that's pushing me to orbit right now and will also handle a bit of the getting to Minmus. This craft is split up into, let me count, 4 parts. The bottom bit is the service module. The middle bit, the round bit, is the crew capsule. Then I've got a habitation module above that, and I've put a lot of solar panels, lights, and some supplies on it. And on the very top, dock to its top, is a satellite. Now here, I have a contract that requires me to dock and redock 2 vessels. That thing started spinning out of control, but thankfully there's a tiny reaction wheel in the probe core in the satellite, and that pretty much saved the habitation module, or I don't know how I would have bolted it back onto the ship. But I got my contract. You can see it in the top right of the screen. Docked Apollo 3 mission and any vessel. I'll put up an arrow to it. Now, if you can, please subscribe. It does mean a lot to me. I really hope to try one day to get to 1K subscribers. And now onwards, I'm plotting my course to Minmus. I like to do this by initially plotting my main prograde burn, then testing to see if I can actually get an encounter, and then deleting the second maneuver node like I just did. And now, my burn to Minmus, and off we go. Now, I don't know when I unlock Smart ASS, but I use it all the time. It's the thing at the bottom on the left side of the nav ball. And I've detached the second stage. I'll have to clean up my orbital junk one day. I could just delete it from the tracking station, but I feel like it could be an interesting mission to try and catch as much of the space junk I've accidentally thrown away. To be honest, I planned for the lower stage on this thing to do all the burns to Minmus, and for the second stage to be used up just before I got into orbit, so it would deorbit itself. But now, because I have actually ended up using a bit of it, I have more fuel than I was expecting, and I had a better margin of error. That's the important thing. Now here I'm plotting my second maneuver node. I want a polar orbit of around 200 kilometers. Now the IVA tour. Now while I click all the buttons, the reason for the polar orbit is that is a ScanSat satellite, and my plan is, I get I get some money, a contract reward from having a satellite in Minmus orbit. To be honest, I thought I had 2 contracts. I'll explain that later. And it's also got some ScanSat equipment on it. Now ScanSat is a mod that lets me create maps, if you don't know. Now here's the interesting part of the tour. I'm now in the little habitation module. The habitation module, the idea behind it is that it would extend how much time my Kerbals can sit in space without going completely crazy. And this, I did notice the coffee on it, and I got really confused. I sent it to somebody on Discord, and they were like, dude, it's coffee. And I was like, how do you know it's coffee? How do you know rising horse means coffee? And then they pointed out the coffee. Up here I have like a smaller, yeah, an intercom and stuff. Now I'm just about to do my burn. I overshot it slightly. It doesn't matter, it's a deep space, really small adjustment burn. I can correct for it later. Now, back to the ScanSat. The idea being, I have a altimeter sensor which will let me map Minmus for flat areas. That's not really an issue on Minmus because we've always got the flats, but like it's nice to be able to scan just in case I have to land. I have to eventually make a base somewhere else than just the flats, because you know, modular colonization system adds like 10 to 20 different ores, and they're not all guaranteed to be in one place. In fact, you usually need to launch like 3 to 4 separate miners in different places, and then use MKS logistics to get all your stuff in one place. But that's a topic for another video. We're nowhere even close to doing that. We don't even have drills. Now, as for life support, well, I guess I'm doing an EVA. I think I'm cleaning up the science now. As for life support, I have USI LS installed. It's designed to not really interfere with you while you're doing your moon missions, because Kerbals can't starve for 14 days and live in cramped spaces for 7 days. But for Minmus missions tend to be a bit longer than that, mainly because I don't always do the most perfectly efficient burn from Kerbin, and because of that I needed to give them a little bit of extra habitation space. So I thought I'd do a Soyuz style lander. Now I don't know, no, I don't think the Russians ever planned to have something looking like a Soyuz land on the moon, but it's my design. Now here, I just got my Orbit Minmus contract because I had done the Start Exploring Minmus, aka Fly by Minmus contract. I'll be editing out, I think I edited out the next time I handle contracts. I usually just hide them, so if contracts pop up and disappear on their own, that's just because, like, who wants to watch me staring at contracts for 10 minutes while I figure out what I'm gonna be doing next. Here I'm circularizing around Minmus. Matt Lone in a recent video said polarization, something, and I think I'm stealing that from now on for polar orbits. A bit more science. The last one was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. And now I think I'm just yep, I had to make it look a bit brighter. Now I do have PlanetShine installed, and I did notice it and started using it later on, but just for that moment I had to boost the brightness by a lot. And here, well, that's my enhanced multispectral scanner. It's gonna give me a biome scan, a low resolution resource scan, which I'll show at the end of the video, and, well, what was the other scan? I don't know what the other scan is doing. I'll make it pop up on the screen if I remember later on. And I also have the radar altimeter I just turned on. It's yeah, it's just doing my altimetry scan. Once I get a good enough map of it, it'll tell me the inclination of the ground. So, well, we're done with that. That's our new relay / scanning satellite. And here I'm, oh, I didn't edit this out. I'm taking my land on Minmus contract now. Now here oh yeah, here's I thought I had this contract because I did have this contract when I was editing the last video, but it turned out to be a pain in the ass because it really wants a low eccentricity, so the periapsis and apoapsis need to be like nearly perfectly circularized, but the big issue with that is my little satellite does not have an engine. I don't know why I didn't give it like at least a single monopropellant thruster. So that means I can't really adjust this. That's my favorite kind of contract. We'll be taking it later, hopefully. By later, yeah, I've got a huge backlog of the Kerbal Space Program video to edit, and I'm pretty sure that later is never happening because I'm focusing on the moon for a bit, just because it's closer and I don't need to. I can just send my crew up in any capsule. Now, I did eventually rename this thing Apollo 3 Minmus Relay / ScanSat, and I set it to probe. And, well, here, what am I doing? I'm deorbiting myself. Now, I did a big oopsie here. I thought I was landing here, like where the text on the screen was showing. However, I was going the complete other way. You'll see. I'll react to that in a moment. Just, yeah. Bit of a mistake there. And here we're about to get the next of Askarad's music. Now, I did realize here, thankfully I have a lot of spare Delta V, and Minmus's gravity is low, so orbital speeds are low, so it doesn't take me much to force my periapsis back up and then circularize in a lower orbit. And that's what I ended up having to do because stupid mistakes were made. Now we're time warping back down. Now, a minor life update from me. The reason why I'm going full on out crazy trying to edit so many videos is because I'm moving to another country soon. And while I can always take my MacBook and just edit the videos later, the PC is like, you can't fit an entire PC in your luggage in the plane. Like, that's not a thing anybody ever does unless they're mentally insane. I did momentarily think, for the fun of it, what if I could put a PC in a suitcase and make it be powered by battery so I can play Kerbal Space Program on a plane, but no, not happening. More science, short EVA. So, yeah, now you guys know. This is why I'm doing my best to have a backlog of videos. It's fine, I have like a... Let me see, this is episode 2. I have episode 2.5 where I goofed and failed, basically. Episode 3, 4, 5, and I'm nearly done with recording 6. However, while recording an episode doesn't take me a long time, editing them is a pain in the ass for me. It takes genuine forever. Now, I did... yeah, I'm about to do my landing and I'm yapping about my life. What's wrong with me? I can yap later. Now, yeah. Descending down. I don't know why my spacecraft's not on the orbit lines. Kerbal Space Program's a bit weird like that. It doesn't really matter. Now, if you do like the music, please go check out Askarad, link in the description, as it always is. He lets people use their use his music on the condition we provide a link back to him. And to be honest, it's great. Like, he's a goat, but his music is also awesome. He says it's... I think he mentioned he's like not a professional. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's probably a professional already by mistake. But anyway, one small step. Second favorite my second favorite of Askarad's music from Transfer Windows. Yeah, go check him out in the description. Now here I did have to do a stealth quick load. So what happened was that this was my last quick save, and then because like once the thing's on the ground, it's probably not going anywhere. But instead, persistent thrust goofed up, and when I was on EVA, it turned on the engine and burned like all my fuel, and I didn't even have enough fuel to launch again from Minmus. And touchdown. Whoa, an unplanned perfect suicide burn. I guess it doesn't matter. It's on Minmus. Gravity is low. Most likely the landing gear would have survived no matter what. So, yeah, science. And, gotta drink water. I'm giving a go at recording this entire thing in one go, and if I don't drink water, problems. Stay hydrated anyway. No, Bob, what are you standing on? So first Jeb was yoinking out of existence, and as you'll see later, Bob also likes to stand on thin air. Now that yeah, I have some mods I have to uninstall, but to be honest, I haven't uninstalled them as of my recording of episode 5 and 6. So that ring is there to stay in future videos, but I figured out how to make it go away. Apparently it's P. I don't know why it's P, I don't know what mod it is, but I'm getting rid of it in like a future episode, hopefully. I'm also going to try to avoid making the mistake of telling you guys what my episodes are going to be in the future. Like, you know, got to keep you guys in suspense. This might be... Kerbals are always very excited about the prospect of having a habitation module and snacks in a like perfect combination for a Kerbal. Fun and food and space. Kerbals must be all a bit insane to want to go to space. I guess all astronauts are slightly inherently insane. Did get that quote out of The Martian. Now what I'm doing here is I've done my science for this place, and I'm just throttling up, and I want to jump to another biome, specifically Minmus's flats. I think it's the lesser flats, but it doesn't matter, it's just another biome, so I still get the science. Yep, lesser flats, just read it off Science X. And touchdown again, and I get to do a second round of science. Science is really important for me right now. I just want to unlock as many things as I can. Do my best to like accelerate my progress, and hopefully be able to get a Duna mission in before the transfer window is over. I think the transfer window is like in a couple 100 days, so it's not that bad. I always have time to run many Minmus and Moon missions in that period of time. But actually nearly said what I'm doing for the next episode. I did turn on precision mode by accident on the jetpack, and the Kraken nearly spaghettifies Bob. It's barely got any power, but it's fine. I'm realizing in a few seconds. Don't know how to turn it on and off, but I do know how to crank it to full power on precision mode, so it's not an issue. Bob just he's turning around. So if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just heading to get this green sandstone rock. That was sticky keys, which I hate. I don't get how it got turned on again. It annoys me constantly when I'm trying to fly Kerbals with the EVA jetpacks. Now here, yep, some weird reflection stuff is happening. Who cares? But so when I was getting this sandstone, this rock must be cursed, because on my first attempt, when I started to thrust away from it, it turned on the engine using persistent thrust on my little spacecraft, and that burned up all its fuel. It had like 100 meters per second of delta V left, and the second time I went for it, it soft locked my entire game, because Bob kind of got stuck in midair and wouldn't move around no matter what. Like he was standing on thin air, and I could have walked him all the way back, but it would have taken forever. So my insurance policy against the persistent thrust from now on is to always turn off my engine. It does come back to bite me once or twice in a future video. And yeah. Who cares? Now I'm just leaving Minmus. Going to try and push my apoapsis up to like, I don't know, 10-20 kilometers, I don't know exactly what. Point being, I once entered in a really low Minmus orbit. My logic back then was, well, I can do a 7-kilometer orbit on the moon, so I can probably do a 5-kilometer orbit on Minmus. I was so wrong. Minmus is so much rockier and mountainy than the moon, and I kind of orbited straight into one of Minmus's balls. I was trying to show off Kerbal space program to a friend, and Yeah, I guess I didn't make the world's best first impression. Now here I've decided to forego going to orbit, and I'm just planning my burn to go full on out and just leave Minmus directly to get to Kerbin. I do also have a lot of spare fuel. I could have probably snuck in one more hop to another biome, but who cares? I've got a lot of science. I've got what I wanted. Just time to go now. Now, as you can see, so it was low resolution altimetry resource. Oh, a biome? No, I'm still confused on what the third thing was. Like the third thing from the multispectral ScanSat thing. But you guys will know. I don't know because I'm recording this in one shot, but who cares what I know and what I don't know. Well, how do you call this? Kerbin injection burn, Minmus escape burn, getting away from here. Who cares? MechChip calls it returning from a moon. And I'm time warping back to Kerbin. I made a mistake, time warped into the atmosphere. It doesn't really matter because we're high up. I also like disconnecting my things late because free fireworks. Now comment on down below if you like this craft, if you like my newer, more aggressive style of editing, and if I should change something. Now, of course, it'll take me forever to actually implement your changes in videos, except if it's editing related, but still, please do it. Firefly mode looking awesome as always, as I'm doing my re-entry. Now, I've got one thing to say. I've been looking on screenshots online, and people are using these really impressive TUFX profiles. I'll have to get myself into using them at some point. It like somebody had one on, and it looked so real. I was like watching this streamer just a moment ago. I'll probably go back to watching him after this because it was like so up. I don't know. I'll have a shout out to him in the top right corner of the screen right now if you guys want to check him out too. So now we're descending and somehow it's a storm again. Don't know what's with me and getting a storm in my re-entry for every video, but apparently that's a thing from now on. Who cares? Storms are nice. They don't really affect the Kerbal weather project that much. To be honest, Black Crack needs to make his clouds have a weather system, so it like the winds actually push you around and stuff. But who cares? And we keep descending. Down we go towards the water. Well, and splashdown. Not quite. Splashdown now. Yep. Splashing down in a storm. I did Apollo 13 have a go at doing that? Like they had a hurricane nearby? Don't remember. Now here I'm checking out the map. I got so confused on this thing. So I put it in ore mode, but I guess I simply don't understand this resource low thing. I just did it for a contract. Before I ever get into mining stuff, I'll have the ability to do high resolution resource scans, which will give me more information on like where the ore is. And now I'm back here doing a crap ton of research. Now this is actually my favorite music from Askarad, Home. It's just like, I don't know what it is with it. It like hacks my brain or something. It reminds me to keep going. Here, yep, I'm getting the big research lab. Now I'm in the next episode, like the next proper episode, not episode 2.5 because that's a stupid episode, I'm gonna be laying down some rules for the labs to make sure they don't like allow me to just cheese the rest of the tech tree. Although to be honest, given the fact that some of those later researches can cost like, I don't know, 10k, 20k, I think there's no way I'm cheesing the rest of this tech tree, especially with me making it harder once I get the research labs. But hot take, I'm getting the bigger solar panels instead of the more research. And that's all. Please, if the next video isn't showing up right now and you're getting the newer text layer, it means it's not out yet. If you haven't watched episode 1, please do go ahead and do that now. And goodbye. Thanks for watching, and see you in a space. Have a good day. Exospace 7 out.